Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I wanted to read you a little part of the Link2 blog, Link2 who is one of my sponsors, but I wanted to read you a little part of it because they did a little write-up on beating the bear, and it's about markets. And, you know, the psychology of markets is so typical. It's so typical. 99% of people when the markets are down, they get scared and angry and upset, and they go one way. But the smart money thinks like this, and I want you to hear this. This is right here. Where the 2007-8 to 2008 financial crisis seemed like an unfortunate bloodbath to many, Warren Buffett saw it as an ideal period for investors. In 2009, Buffett wrote a letter to the shareholders of Berkshire Hathaway referring to the stock market's worst downturn of its time, in which he said, "We've put a lot of money to work during the chaos of the last 2 years. It's been an ideal period for investors. A climate of fear is their best friend." If you remember nothing else, remember that. You know, for those that have invested more than they can afford to lose, this doesn't apply. But that's because they weren't thinking about what they were doing. But what I'm doing right now, what I have been doing, is I've been buying poly signs, what I've been scooping up. But they've also got AI, like that Samba Nova is an AI. I've got some Ripple, I've got some Uphold. But there's all kinds there's blockchain stuff here, there's AI. Anyway, they're one of my sponsors. Links in the top of the description. Click on it, tell them DAI sent you. Check this out. Bankrupt crypto exchange FTX said it is asking politicians to return what could be $93 million in political donations by the end of the month. Uh-oh. Can you imagine? I can only imagine. Now, I wanted to show you this because some of these quotes are the quotes and the words that have always fascinated me about things that were coming out of Ripple and around Ripple, the company. Riz Gensler resigned, put this out. "The train has left the station, Rosie Rios. Transparency is our friend." Brad Garlinghouse. "Internal transparency is what Joseph Lubin practices." That's a different, we'll get more to that later on. "We're here to make a dent in the universe." Naveen Gupta from Ripple. It can't be cheap. David Schwartz. "Universal ledger, intergalactic currency." Greg Kidd. That was when I interviewed Greg Kidd when he referred to XRP as an intergalactic currency. Now this, many of you may not remember a guy named Hodor. Hodor ran a blog back in around 2018, 2019. I remember him saying he had actually spoken to some of the people at Ripple. He was a very well-respected blogger and he was on Twitter as well, but he was a very smart guy. This is what he said in one of his blogs that I'll never forget. "At what XRP price point will Ripple be worth $1 trillion? XRP price equals $17. Just so you're mentally and emotionally prepared for it, the price won't stop at $17. It will keep going past this artificial construct that makes people uncomfortable." Well, I'm ready to be uncomfortable. And then this is another quote from Hodor that was interesting. "Ripple is quite cognizant of possible market capitalization numbers, along with the public relations challenges that will go with it. Their plan is not to just sit on their XRP and watch as their valuation skyrockets past the valuation of the East India Company." All right? You know what this statement right here says to me? I believe, you see this part right here? They're quite cognizant of their the market capitalization numbers that will happen. But this part, along with the public relations challenges that will go with it, that right there, what I believe what we've been through for the last 2-3 years, all the FUD, the lawsuits, the SEC lawsuit, I believe it's all for that very one reason. I believe it's people trying to hold this company and this digital asset back. And I believe that they're going to lose in that attempt. But Ripple had to fight it out. Now, here's one of the reasons I believe they're going to lose in that attempt. This is a tweet. We all saw the supposed Chinese spy balloon going over the United States the last few days, and then they blew it up off the coast of South Carolina, I believe. Well, Stuart Alderati tweeted this out. He said, just released photo of SEC's misguided case following 2 years of Ripple's relentless defense. When I saw that, the first thing that popped in my mind is, well, a tweet like that from the general counsel of Ripple, that looks like a tweet of somebody who's seen the Hinman documents and knows that the SEC is terrified of those actually coming out. I stand by my statement. I think this thing settles. Till I see those Hinman documents, the only way the SEC would get out of that settlement is if the judge came out and said, okay, you don't have to show those Hinman documents. But if they do have to show the Hinman documents unredacted, and all of a sudden, that's where I think settlement happens. This judge comes out and says, you got to show them. That's the moment that I think Gary Gensler finally folds. Then there was an article here, and John Deaton tweeted out, he said, the article says SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce also opined that the SEC's case is not as strong as it assumes and that a judge may rule in favor of Ripple's defense. He says, I doubt this is true considering Hester never comments on specific cases. Anyone know differently? Eleanor Terrett says, yes, this would be huge news if true. We shall see. Mr. Huber, who used to be Stefan Huber, statement of Renee Jones on her tenure as director of the Division of Corporation Finance. So apparently another one that bites the dust at the SEC. Then we have this. I've been talking about this the last two videos, but I wanted to make another point with it. The Riz.Gensler, he says, $420 a joke between Joel Katz and Elon Musk. Ha! What about those Bill Hinman emails? Brad Garlinghouse, we'll see them, okay? So what he's talking about here is, so we've got Brad Garlinghouse talking about those emails, and Elon Musk had replied to Brad Garlinghouse at one time, said, no way. And then David Schwartz was talking about how this is a joke, of course. My point here is that obviously Elon Musk knows these guys, and obviously Elon Musk is following what's going on with Ripple. Well, I've always said, I don't think that's an accident. I also don't think this is an accident. Remember when we were going through all the ETHgate stuff and we were finding everything out and we were tying Andreessen Horowitz to it and how Jay Clayton went over to Andreessen Horowitz and that's what set the venture capital working group in motion. That's what became the Ethereum free pass. Later, we found out about the disguised whales. It's all related, folks. This was while we were talking about ETHgate, all of a sudden Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey were joking around about Web3. And when you hear Web3, you hear Ethereum and all the things built around it. Jack Dorsey said it's somewhere between A and Z. These guys were taking a shot at Andreessen Horowitz here, okay? Then we also saw Elon Musk tweet this. He says, oh, what a tangled web they weave when they first practice to deceive. Well, this was a quote that I used a lot back then around ETHgate and how the SEC had been caught in these lies, the Hinman thing and all this stuff. And I had made that comment. He's watching, folks. He's watching what's been going on. He knows. Now, then there's this. What did Jack Dorsey say about Web3 again? And here it is. Crypto VC firm Andreessen Horowitz has voted against a proposal to deploy Uniswap v3 on Binance's BNB chain. A16Z opposed the deployment because it wants to leverage Layer 0, a crypto project that A16 has invested in. The crypto community has subsequently expressed concern over the voting power that an A16Z has in crypto DAOs. A report from the blockchain analytics firm Chainalysis found that 1% of DAO token holders have 90% of the governance power. Folks, we tried to warn you for over 2 years. The reason that the Ethereum disguised whales are so important is because what this entire ETHgate thing was about is it was the whole thing. There's a reason that they kept beating you over the head. Everybody from Hinman to Joseph Lubin. Decentralized, decentralized, decentralized. They were beating you over the head with decentralized. while at the same, what they were doing, it was disguised centralization. And words mean things, folks. And these guys aren't stupid. They knew that if they beat you over the head with the word decentralized enough, you eventually would believe it. But I have a feeling that if you ever track, chain analysis could easily go back and track from this Ethereum ICO. If you ever tracked it back from that ICO, you would find out decentralization has absolutely nothing to do with it. But how come nobody wants to go do it? That's the question. All right, now, David Schwartz he's been in a back and forth with Craig Wright. I've been blocked by Craig Wright, so I can't see what he says. Craig Wright assures XRP is gone. It's gone. It's completely gone. Ripple CTO counters. Ripple CTO termed this lawsuit nonsensical, while he claims that Craig Wright doesn't require any person to write code. Don't know what their whole thing's about. Here's one reply. He will never make an answer to that, to what action he wants them to take. That would be them acting inside existing law, because he knows there's no answer. The only thing they could do that would help him is to take his side in public debate over what code nodes should run. I don't know what they're talking about. I think that's it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family to go check out Link to, because the smart money in these recessions, they do certain things, and that's a great article on it.